you think that because I am poor, obscure, plain and little, that I am soulless and heartless?
Jane!
And on this video, I'm gonna bring you with me throughout my adventures of reading Jane Eyre for the first time.
Been quite a few days since I've started this book. I don't remember when, probably a week, and I'm on page almost 300, so I'm right here. And I have to say, because I think it was on one of my podcasts or a previous video that I was saying, oh, I don't think I would like Jane Eyre that much. I was wrong. So the beginning was really slow and I was a bit afraid it was going to be kind of like Matilda. I really thought it was going to be just about Jane when she was younger and when she was just an orphan in this like tiny school. And I just heard so many more things about this book that when I was reading I was confused and I was thinking about something more, and I was right. We got so much in this book. I feel like it's really started around 100 pages, and for me it's quite late. I mean, it's not really late when you think the size of this book. It's pretty huge. I don't have too much focus and I kind of need to be, directly in the book, so having to wait 100 pages to actually got to the nice bits, at least for me, it was long. But now I'm loving it. Like, the depiction of the society, amazing. Jane, like, she's thinking so clearly for her age, just from this time period. She's not like criticizing other women, and at the same time she can see when, well, someone is a bit mean without really talking shit about her. Mr. Rochester, I'm still trying to process the fact that we got 20 years of difference. That guy said to Jane at the beginning, I could be your father. I can't stop thinking about it. But the nice thing is, it's a book, so I'm not saying anything. I'm pretty sure we got a few movie adaptation or theatre play, whatever. If I'm seeing an 18 years old girl with a guy who's like 30, I cannot. But yeah, I'm just like tabbing so much because one, we got feminist codes, were like one amazing, but I think someone actually writing this at this time, how can you write this 200 years ago? It's really funny. I'm sorry, but sometimes they're just saying things and I'm like, what the fuck? Is that comedy? Is that comedy for you? When they got this kind of fire and Mr. Rochester is like, oh, you saved my life, I own you. And later it was referring to this and it was like, oh, did you get a cold when you were drowning me? She wasn't drowning you, she was helping you. Like, I'm just at this point where, and it's not always often with a classic, I mean, probably not, it just, I guess I'm not used to good and long classic yet. Anyway, I'm just surprised to want to know more, be so much into the character of this book, even the one we're not saying much. I realized, because usually I could read this sort of stuff for the romance, and if Jane or Mr. Rochester is not like mentioned, usually I would have just skip the pages. Not skipping, but you know. In this one, I'm not even realizing when they're not here. Like, I'm still reading and just absorbing all the things she's saying about society. Can you tell I had such a long day and I'm just waiting for reading my book? I passed the second part, like I'm on page 380, so a few pages ago I just started the second part of the book, and let me tell you, I'm so confused. I really thought the end point, like the main thing, maybe not the main thing, but just one of the main thing of this book was Rochester asking Jane to marry him, but he actually asked her literally in the middle of the book. It's really weird that it's just happening right now. I know we got this kind of mystery in between, but it was mentioned probably 100 pages ago, so I wasn't thinking about it anymore, and now I'm just like, everything is just so confusing. It's like, we need to marry in 4 weeks. Exactly. Why 4 weeks? And it's so mean to Adele too. I had this idea of this book in my head, and now I've got nothing. Well, I did a little tiny mistake. Like I told you, I think yesterday, I was getting a bit bored by this Rochester propose, and then this rumors happened and they actually didn't get married. And it's been pages and pages of just Mr. Rochester talking about how he's loved just Jane and how he messed up and blah blah blah. And I'm like, dude, you did this to yourself. You knew and you saw how Jane was. Why? It just like didn't cross your mind to be honest from the beginning. One thing that's bothering me right now is usually when it was Jane and Rochester, it was like a few lines or a few pages and that was it, and then it was a big part of just Jane with Ada or Jane with society or whatever, and now we just get pages and pages and pages and it just Rochester talking. Like, I'm getting sick of him, like literally sick. But Jane just went from reading and painting and being kind of a maternal figure for Adele to weeping and crying, waiting, maybe Esben coming home. And I'm like, that's not you, Jane. So when I'm getting bored, especially when it's like a classic or a book really well known, I'm used, you know, to type things online so I can check and I can get kind of hype again. So I know something is gonna happen, you know, and I'm not reading for nothing. And that's how I was bored the first time about this thing about Rochester and his wife. I did this thing again because I was getting angrier and angrier about the whole depiction of madness. I feel like the madness is, I don't know what exactly it can be, but I just don't like how it's described, like especially from Rochester, just like, she's crazy, I'm just gonna leave her alone. I don't know, can you not take care of her, or maybe, I don't know, ask a doctor or something, but not leaving this lady alone? I don't think it's gonna help. So I was looking online about like mental health and Jane Eyre, or just madness and Jane Eyre, and how it was written in the book and where it was going, and that's when I saw another spoiler and I was like, why I'm doing this to myself? Why? I don't know who is doing this event. Now it's a guessing game about who is gonna do this thing. I don't know, this book is a roller coaster. At first it was okay, but a bit boring. Then we got a big chunk from 100 pages to maybe 300 something, who was really good, and I was so hyped, and Jane was killing it. It was so great. And now I'm just in this part when it's all about marriage and Rochester. I don't know. And I received 2 books yesterday. So I received this one, Bear Town. Oh, it's magic. Anyway, okay, I'm not gonna reach for it because it's here and it's pretty huge, but it's Don Birthday? I don't know if I'm saying this right, but that's a huge book with almost 1000 pages. Weirdly enough, I cannot wait to read it because we got this whole introduction and it's a book that contains so many things you can analyze, and I'm living for it. Also, because I'm talking about Jane Eyre, but I didn't mention anything about my deadlines or just what I'm doing at uni. I'm living in the UK and I'm doing BA in VFX, which stands for visual effects for TV and movies. And currently it's my deadline, so it's basically not a funny time when we got a date when we need to finish our projects. And our projects, we got 2, 3, it's just multiple things. They started a few months ago, so that's like a project, you know, it's not like just, oh, write a few words. No, that's a huge thing. You need to export and think about a lot of things, and so many things can just not happening, right? Because since we're doing all of this on computers, well, we cannot really predict how long we need to render something. So rendering is basically just exporting something. I need to do 2 presentations today, but that's okay. I did also painting before because I also have like an art module. So I finished Jane Eyre. First thing I want to say is, I think it was on the previous clip I was saying about something about 2 people dying. That's absolutely not what happened. I got spoiled, but by the wrong spoil. I didn't like the end. How the book just went from good to what the fuck. The part I'm glad about is Jane becoming rich. We love that for her. Jane teaching, even if she kind of stopped. This part was cool, and I kind of liked John at first, even if he quickly became... And then Jane, all of a sudden, decided to go back to Rochester for no reason. You decided on your own to just leave this man, which was a good thing, because it just lied to you and did this whole thing. In between, you have a good job, you're getting money, you're getting friends, even family, and what are you doing? You're going back. It's not even cute or romantic, it's nothing. It's so freaking annoying. Jane is going back to him. It's huge. And he's like weeping and being like, you sure you love me? And it's just like being jealous. How can you act this way? This woman just came back miles and miles away just for you, and you're like, oh no, you don't love me, you love this John. Oh my, honestly, I'm happy she got an happy ending. I guess that's a good thing. Even just why they're actually married, it just because Bertha died. That's fine now, she's dead, we can marry. Maybe you should talk in between, maybe you should, I don't know, do something, but no. I really like how he was writing, and I didn't expect Jane to talk to the reader and being like, dear reader. That's a cool thing, and I like it. So what I'm gonna do right now, and by right now I mean tomorrow, I think I'm gonna watch like a few videos to understand the context of Jane Eyre and why the end is like this. I'm waiting before rating this book or saying anything to know where is that coming from. I actually need to pick another book, and I have no clue what I want to read. So I submitted my work at uni. The main deadlines are done, which
is great, but I still need to write, and I say I'm quite scared about that. But anyway, let's go back to what I thought about Jane Eyre, because this morning I checked a bit about what they were saying about the end and just everything. From what I read on the internet, the reason why Jane married Rochester was this whole idea that now she was doing this on her terms, and it wasn't Rochester having the money, that wasn't Rochester having this master link to Jane, but now they were like really equals, and it was actually Jane having much more money, and she was in a way kind of controlling Rochester since he was blind. Rochester really needed Jane instead of Jane needed Rochester because she was alone, which I do get, and I wasn't seeing this in this way, so I'm glad I just read a bit more online. And I kind of like this explanation, and it makes sense. That's exactly why I don't get she went back to Rochester, because one of the outside this, the reason why she just decided to go to this man is she learned that her last wife died. That's it. Can you imagine doing this in real life? Like, you like someone, you're just waiting until the wife is dead so you can come back. The only thing that makes me kind of like Jane Eyre more in this book, not Jane Eyre but how the book was written, was actually True Lies, because the whole thing I think I said, but about Rochester not putting Bertha in some kind of mental, I don't know, not hospital but a place for her at least. Apparently, without too much surprise, but it wasn't too much of a thing at the time, it's written by, you know, someone who was living at this time, so obviously it's not the same view as now. So I kind of get that, okay. And same thing with all the critique and racism that could be inside. It was mostly viewed by the point of a white woman at that time when, and that's the thing, Charlotte Bronte was actually in love with an older man at her school. The fact that she wrote something about a man 20 years older than Jane is, it's not really giving explanation, but it's making sense, because obviously she's gonna write about her own life too in her own book. I like Jane, I really like Jane, but I like Jane, I don't like Rochester. I know I read this thread on Reddit saying, oh, but the poor guy, he didn't choose to marry this girl, which technically is true, and he was young, and then he still like took care of Adele and all of this thing. People were saying he got kind of a redemption arc after he got blind, because obviously, well, he had to change and see life in a different way, even at this point where he was blind and kind of miserable and everything. One of the first things he said to Jane was, oh my god, do you love this John? And just act like a prick and be so jealous. And I'm like, she was gonna marry you if you were not lying to her, and now you're just doing this whole thing, be like, I'm jealous of this man. And it was actually his cousin, but apparently it's not stopping anyone. I did like Jane Eyre, like the character. I didn't like Rochester. I quite like the whole idea of the book from the beginning to the end. I don't like the fact that Jane is ending with Rochester, but I do like this dynamic in the way of she's the one who got the money now, and she's the one kind of managing the relationship and not Rochester, and we don't have this master governess kind of dynamic between the two. Yes, Rochester was manipulative and quite sometimes violent too, but Jane was aware of this and she wasn't make a fool of herself, which I agree. Is that really making any sense to you? Is that really explaining things? Because okay, she's aware of the thing, she's aware of the danger and fault of her husband, but why are you staying then? For me, she would have made much Jane self and happier if she was just like living with Adele and maybe doing this thing like Jo March did, even if technically Jo March did marry someone, but that's another story. But just, you know, having her own school and maybe meeting a guy later, but just not fucking Rochester. Anyway, I need to stop. I know there's a book about Bertha, and Rochester, so it's set before, and I think it's from the point of view of Bertha actually explaining why she got mad, and actually is that Rochester who make Bertha mad. I'm currently reading Letter to a Young Poet, and I thought I was gonna love it, and I think I forgot it was letters written by a white man. I'm actually waiting to watch and read more analysis online about it. For me right now, how and what he's saying, I'm not disagreeing with everything, not at all, but there's just some people agree that he's kind of a prick. He's still like making really good poems and he's still an artist and everything, but in just a sense of how he's writing the letters and how what he's just saying, he's a prick, and I agree with that. Anyway, I think I'm gonna just make another vlog about this tiny book. Let me know your thoughts on Jane Eyre in the comments, and yeah, that's it.